I may have been born in the 80s, but I'm a child of the 90s. My most formative years were in the 1990s. I was a teenager in the 1990s. And today we're going to look at some crazy stuff, a 1990s EDC for you. This stuff is not at all practical. It's just a lot of fun. Thank you to Crispy Donut Community for sending out a couple of things that we're going to take a look at first. So with that being said, let's go. If you love knives, flashlights, pouches, anything at all EDC everyday carry related, then I would love to have you as a subscriber. It doesn't cost you anything and it really helps us out. All the links that are in the description help us out. And you can buy me a coffee if you really would like to contribute to the channel. Thank you so much for watching. Now back to the video. Okay, before we get started, just a couple of special thanks to CDC, Crispy Donut Community, for sending out some of this gear, these patches, all this awesome stickers and stuff, especially what we're going to be talking about first, the CJRB Hectare, as we open this up. This is their Orion Knives knife case. As you can see, this is a blue and pink sparkles here. You've got a couple of different patches here. This one's an embroidered patch. This one's like a rifle, melty rifle with donut stuff on it. It's got CDC on it. Looks pretty rad. I mean, this stuff, it's my channel color is pink. So I've got to absolutely embrace this kind of stuff. I love it. So when we take a look at this, it's got really smooth zippers and opening right here. You do have double zippers as well. And you've got a velvet interior with 4 large slots. These will fit a large knife here. And I have 2 of the things that they included here. Obviously, they included some stickers. So thank you so much to them for supporting the channel and sending that kind of stuff to me as well. But what we have here is the CJRB Hectare. Now the Hectare is this is a reverse tanto. This is a pre-order right now. You can see I've got some fingerprints on it here. I've already been using it, but this is the satin finish right here. And boy, oh boy, I love CJRB anyways. I own their pyrite and mini pyrite, and this is an exquisite design. You've got a black stainless steel clip here. Of course, this is going to be about 7.35 inches long. So this is a pretty long blade, a long knife opened, but closed, it's 4.2 inches. It's only got a 3.15 inch blade length. So the blade is going to be a little bit over 3 inches there. And you've got AR RPM 9 steel on this. Now it says it right here as along with a serial number and whatnot. But AR RPM 9, to my understanding, is a proprietary steel. And what I mean by when I say that is that it's a specialty steel that is special to CJRB, I believe, and artisan cutlery. So if I'm not correct on that, make sure to correct me in the comments. I know you will. But you've got a reverse tanto blade here, and I love that blade style. It's a flat grind, of course, and you've got this satin finish, but there's also a black PVD coating. Now, I will say at the time of this recording, on Saturday, June 1st, there's not a whole lot of these left for pre-order, so I don't know if they will reissue that or not, or I don't know what they're going to do with that. So if there is a lot of demand, then obviously they will find a way to make more, I believe, because you can't say no to money. So of course, there's a thumb stud opening here. It is a crossbar lock. Now, it's very interesting because when I put the crossbar lock in, if I've got the crossbar lock engaged right here, as you can see, you do have a little gap. But then when you let that crossbar lock go, it engages and it's really not going anywhere from there. Now, it's a crossbar lock, obviously. Now, I can open it with the crossbar lock here, and it's just fine. And I just love that reverse tanto blade tip length right there. It's just amazing. But when you put it in, it's got an interesting kind of engagement thing right here. So check that out. And then it kind of goes back in, it clicks back in. And again, it's not tough to deploy, obviously. It's very nice, smooth opening. But what you've got here in the handle is some layered G10. So you've got 2 layers, it looks like, maybe more layers of G10 with kind of these milled out holes. And you've got that donut design here. I've added my own pink paracord. I've been waiting for this moment to have some pink gear to match my pink channel stuff. And this is amazing. So I love this. And you've got the pink liners right here. as far as what it looks like from this angle. And of course you've got your thumb studs. I would have loved to have seen maybe like a pink thumb stud. That would have been rad. That would have been amazing. Just taking notes. But again, this is a wonderful knife. CGRB, of course, is a awesome brand. The pocket clip is reversible. It is a tip up carry. And this is not assisted opening. This is just a manual flip opening. Here's the best part about this knife. $60. $60. That is a tremendous value for a knife like this, especially a specialty knife that has been specially designed here for the scales, and they have custom scales on here. Wonderful value at $60. You can't beat it. All right, so next is the Worry Donut. Now, this did not come with this lanyard. I added it. Obviously, it's the same color as the one I had before. This is your Worry Donut, and I mean, it's not practical, but I just love it. Look at this thing. It's just amazing. It's nice and thick. It's made of PVC, so it's kind of got this flexibility to it, and you can just kind of mash it and kind of mash it, and just kind of, it's kind of one of those, it's meant to be like a worry stone. And so I'd love to see this a little bit weathered, especially on the edges here. But it's going to be just a really neat addition, a really neat colorful addition. And you can get these for $40. Of course, that's going to be solid PVC. This thing is incredibly rock solid. Other worry stones made of titanium or brass or anything are going to run you upwards of $100. And so this is a pretty good value at that. I would absolutely check that out. The Worry Donut. I mean, it's just great. Now, I did not go into detail necessarily about the interior here, but you've got 4 large slots here of the carry case. And they're very kind of nice and double stitched here. And you've got kind of this crushed velvet kind of looking stuff on the inside. It's not crushed velvet. It's kind of like just a felt here on the inside to keep all your stuff in. You can even fit a very slim pair of glasses or sunglasses in here or something if you wanted to. But it just folds up very nicely. It's very rigid and it's very zippable. The zippers are nice and quick, and I'm assuming they're just going to be YKK, but they may not be. But this is just a nice little carry case to carry just a couple of knives with you on a trip. So really cool on that. Now, I will say, if some of this is not your style, not a big deal, but I think it's just fun. I think it's really fun what the Crispy Donut community is doing, and really thanks to all of them. Thank you to Drew and Luke, especially, and Sam, my good buddy Sam. We will be seeing him at Blade Show next weekend. Wow, I cannot believe it. I cannot believe Blade Show is just 7 days away. So, but anyway, make sure you go to crispydonutcommunity.com and check out all of the merchandise they have to offer. Everything is pink and blue. Everything is just amazing to look at. So make sure you check out all of the stuff they have to offer. This is another, I just wanted to share this. This is another Crispy Donut Ops. You kind of got a night vision goggles kind of thing going on here with this patch. A couple of these other patches, I will put a link in the description for all this stuff, but I had to share my pink kind of seatbelt material hinge here, Garage Built Gear Mighty Pouch. And of course, I made my own lanyard for it. I've got a nice little pink Victorinox, just at SD A-locks here. I mean, I'm digging pink. Pink is pretty cool. It's a pretty manly color. If you don't agree, then that's fine. Now, let's get into some of the wacky stuff. Wacky stuff like trading cards. Now, trading cards were huge. I mean, they were huge in the 90s, especially baseball cards. Baseball cards, absolutely huge in the 90s. In the late 90s, you got some Pokemon cards that were huge. But recently, I wanted to share these with you guys. Big Idea Design sent out some EDC trading cards. I'm not joking. It's so funky, so cool. You've got Sam Tran here, Lucas Burnley, Peter McKinnon, Melissa Miller, Melissa Backwoods, Taylor Martin, Tom Medovich. I've met him before, but anyway, Ben Peterson. I mean, just a ton of different, and these are all kind of, they got this holographic, they got this cool art style to them. I mean, these are just amazing. Now, I will not be shameful in saying that if I see, I'm carrying these with me to Blade Show. If I see any of these guys or ladies right here, I'm going to try to get them to autograph them for me. No joke. It's going to be like a baseball player, like a sports team. I'm going to try to get my complete set autographed. Isn't that just really cool? Anyway, trading cards, gotta love them. Gotta love that kind of stuff. Of course, I pulled out a pink Pokemon card here, but me and my little boys, we love Pokemon cards, and so just thought I'd share that with you. Trading cards, it's got to be part of your 90s EDC. You got to have a couple in your pocket ready to trade, right? All right, now the next thing I want to talk about is gaming. Now, gaming, I could go for a long, long time talking about gaming. I really could. But this is my custom, both of these are custom actually, that I built myself. These are custom. This is a Game Boy Advance. This is a regular Game Boy with a clear shell. Now, I love retro gaming, and retro gaming is going to be one of those things. If you were in the 90s, if I was in the 90s, I would have a Game Boy or a game system with me almost at all times. And so this is a regular Game Boy and a Game Boy Advance, both that I made myself. Now, I did not, when I say make myself, I took parts from the originals and put new shells on them, new screens. These IPS LCD screens that they have nowadays are phenomenal. And I've upgraded even this one with a USB-C charging on this with a clear shell. This is an original 1989 Game Boy on the inside with a updated screen, updated buttons, updated speaker, and you've got obviously updated power, so I can plug that right into USB-C, and it charges that way with a rechargeable battery instead of having to tote around, 4 AA batteries. But I love this. Let me show you this. I've got Super Mario Land 2 for the Japanese version for Game Boy here, and you just flip it on and you can change the color of the screen. Listen, you can change the color of the screens to basically anything that you'd want, and it's just, it's just phenomenal to be able to play this in the original. I love that, the original right here. So if you push start, these things are, you can do whatever you want to here and play this game, and I just love being able to play all of these games. Listen to that. You got to love the retro music. Listen. Gotta love it. And so again, thanks so much to Marcus O'Brien for inspiring me to kind of include some of this in his video. I loved his video. I'm going to link that in a card right up above. But needless to say, there is a ton of stuff that you can do to these. Retro Game Repair Shop, they're not paying me to say this. They didn't provide this stuff for free for me. I just wanted to mention that they provide all sorts of these parts to all sorts of different things. And so you can get whatever you need for any kind of building. If you find an old Game Boy, if you have an old Game Boy that you want to restore, that you want, that it works, but the screen is terrible like they were back in the day and you can't charge with USB-C, well, you can do that and with very minimal modifications, like very minimal soldering. And for less than $100, you can have something that's fantastic. And so again, I just wanted to point out, this is a flash cart for a Game Boy, and you can get these for decently cheap, anywhere from about 60 to 90 bucks. And what you can do is you can put a SD card into the side of these, like I've got one right here. You can put an SD card into the side of these and just load all your games on it and play them directly on the cartridge itself in original hardware, all sorts of different stuff. Really cool, really awesome. Same here with the EverDrive, although the EverDrives, they get a little bit more costly when you're thinking about getting some of those, especially if you're looking for them on eBay, because a lot of them are kind of out of print right now, the X7, X5s. But the best way to go is just get you some original cartridges. And this one, of course, is a pretty costly one. This is Pokemon Ruby, and you won't find it for cheap. But there's a lot of other really great games that you can find for cheap for $15, sub $15. So really cool way to play these games. Of course, if I was to put this into my Game Boy Advance here, and I've got a clear black, kind of smoky black here, and I just, oh man, I just love playing on this thing. It just brings back all the memories. Oh, you gotta hear the music. I can turn it up a little bit. And I've got an upgraded speaker on this so it doesn't sound as shrill. Just amazing stuff. Amazing stuff. Gotta love it. Gotta love it. So anyways, you can choose the color of your switches. I would love to mod this one to charge with USB-C, but that's a little bit more involved. You'll find out that this is a really big rabbit hole that a lot of people can go down. So gaming is really cool. So some simpler alternatives to these are buying your own game system. And of course you have seen this one before, but this is the MiiU Mini Plus. Now this one doesn't take cartridges. You can't use any of the cartridges that you have on this one, but it's got backwards buttons. It's got an on switch right here, and it charges USB-C. You can put a you can put an SD card in here, put any games in it. This plays a ton of different systems. And so this is probably the simplest way to do these things. And I was sitting here, I was playing some Donkey Kong from the original Game Boy. And you can hear that, this thing has got a really good quality. The screen is actually much bigger than that one. Listen to this. I mean, Donkey Kong really has it in for me. He's throwing all this stuff at me. See, I can't play when I'm on camera. Can't do it. So anyways, you see that this is the MiiU Mini. This is the Plus model, but they also have the MiiU Mini that's even smaller. And there are a million game systems out there just like these. Different form factors, different screen sizes. They've got one with a special square screen now. I think it's the A&E. Well, you know what? I'm just gonna link it below. Can't ever tell because they come out with a new one every week. But gaming on the go, this is kind of the golden age of being able to play retro games on pretty much all devices. And not to mention that you can get RetroArch, you can get Delta on your iPhone now, which I know the Android boys, they've been able to play retro games on their Androids for ages, but iPhone users finally get that. So you can download those and find a way to get your own ROMs on there. It's phenomenal stuff, phenomenal stuff. Another thing I wanted to mention, if you want a little bit more higher end, this is the Analog Pocket, and I've got a few modifications on this one. I've got a little dust cover for the cartridge slot. You can actually use original cartridges on this, but I've got some holographic stickers in there. And of course, this thing is going to be pretty amazing. The screen is unbelievable. The screen is just unbelievable on this, and it does load. It uses an FPGA, so you're going to get a little bit more accurate gaming. But again, if you don't really care, you just want to play the games, this is a good way to go as well. The MiiU Mini Plus, anything like that's really a good way to go. So I'm playing a Game Boy Advance version of Pokemon here, and as you can see, I've got a bunch of different games going, but the screen on this, as you can see, is just unbelievably phenomenal. I mean, you cannot get probably a better screen on any of this stuff right now. So anyway, that's gaming, and I would have loved to have had this stuff back in 1995. Okay, the last thing I want to talk about is music. Now, music in the 90s was not at all like it is today. You have thousands upon probably millions of songs in your pocket on your iPhone. But there's something just to me about being just disingenuous about that. There's something that just detaches you from the music. I feel like it's just not as, not as physical as some of the other forms that you would have in the 90s. And two of the forms, I completely missed out on vinyl. I was born in the 80s. I grew up in the 90s with tapes and CDs. And mini discs. I want to talk to you about mini discs here in a few minutes. I want to talk to you about mini discs because it's kind of a format that's been forgotten, but it's really, really neat. So talking about music, you know, you could listen to Spotify. You could listen to any song that you want practically anytime by paying $10 a month. You can do that. But if you really want to connect with your music, and I do, I'm a huge fan of music. I was a huge fan of grunge and alternative back in the 90s. If you really want to connect with your music, you need to, one, record your own music. You need to kind of perform, maybe record your own music, but also have physical kind of versions of that. And I think that's why vinyl is so popular. Even though I own 0 vinyl records, I completely get it now why that medium has exploded in popularity. And mediums that are exploding in popularity again are cassette tapes and mini discs. And I will tell you, first I'm going to talk about mini discs before we go and talk about tapes. So mini discs are a little bit harder to come by. This is actually a new, quote unquote, new mini disc that you can get that somebody made and had printed. This is Kieran Mahan, Solstice Live. And you can get these on Bandcamp. You can get all sorts of mini disc records that people have made on all sorts of different sites like SoundCloud. You can record your own independent artists from Minidisc. Minidisc is a really cool, check this out, a really cool medium for recording your own stuff. I always thought it was really cool. I always thought it was super neat. But you can pop these in, you can record. I've got the recorder I have here is the portable Sony mini disc recorder, and most of them were made by Sony, is the MZ-B10. Now, this one also has, this is an MZ-NE410, gotta love those model names, right? And this one is actually pretty good as well, but it's good for playing, and you gotta go back and use your physical earbuds and physical earphones for these things. It's actually kind of really neat to be able to use. And so you can pop these discs in, you can record to these. I've got a record button on this. I can't record with this one, I can only play, but I can record with this one, and it's just really cool. This one actually has a speaker. Let me let you hear it. This one actually has a speaker to where you can just listen to it. This was meant to record like meetings and stuff. Let me see if I can get it on. Yeah, this is 21 Pilots, so probably going to get copyright struck for this. Yeah, so anyway, I don't want to do that. But you can see how easy it is, and it separates the tracks automatically. You've got a bunch of, and I love the Sony styling from the 90s. I mean, this was just amazing. You've got all sorts of inputs here that you can mark different things. You can record the different record modes. It only takes 2 batteries. These things last forever on 2 batteries. It's just amazing. I've got, and you can get brand new sealed mini discs, but they're a little expensive. Like, you're going to pay anywhere from $8 to $12 for a mini disc. Same for cassette tapes, but we'll talk about those here in a minute. But I've actually got my own library of mini discs here, as you can see, and I've made different playlists. I've basically put playlists onto physical media here. I just find it really cool. It's completely impractical. I'm not going to carry a mini disc player around with me walking probably every day, but sitting at my desk at work and working with some of this stuff, it's actually really fantastic. And so I'll take soundtracks that I enjoy. Most of this kind of stuff is stuff for me to focus, so I can focus on it at work. But then I'll take stuff like, for instance, there was a special edition FM 84, which I love them. I've got them on cassette here as well. They're big fans of physical media. But I've got an FM 84 and an RP1 set, Ready Player One. They did a special Ready Player One set at the premiere of the movie back a bunch of years ago, like 2018 or something. And it was only like on SoundCloud. It was only at South by Southwest in Austin. And it was like a DJ set. And I've got this. This is like my own bootleg recordings. I love it. And I've recorded a podcast that I love. 13 Minutes to the Moon was one of the podcasts that I just absolutely love, which, by the way, it's a fantastic podcast. You should absolutely check it out. But just having my own physical recording of those is just really, really neat. And that kind of moves us into talking about tapes. Now, this is just a small selection of tapes that I have. I actually have a ton of tapes that I bought up years and years ago that were blank tape media that I could record on. And I've got a couple of cassette deck recorders. The only thing I don't like about cassettes is that they're not as reliable as a mini disc. They're not going to be as reliable as a mini disc. You could put a magnet up to one of these and wipe the tape. I mean, put the magnet of your phone next to one of these tapes and it could wipe the entire thing. That's how fragile they are. We don't remember that kind of stuff from the 90s, but that's actually how they were. But I love some of these new, quote unquote, new old tapes that they have out right now. Specifically, Guardians of the Galaxy actually contributed quite a bit to the tape craze, and they made their soundtrack available on cassette tape. And so it looks like it just does in the movie. It has the very aesthetic like it did in the 1990s and has a it didn't hurt that it had a bunch of great songs on it as well. But then you've got reissues of older ones that I've got here. So these are well, actually, this is a reissue of Nirvana's Bleach, one of my all-time favorite records of all time. And it's got a nice new tape with a new recording on it. This has been remastered. It's basically the same exact tape as it would have been back in the day, except that it's been reissued by Sub Pop Records. And just, I mean, it's just amazing to listen to this kind of stuff. And then you've got artists that put their stuff out, new artists that put their new stuff out on tapes. And so you've got really cool stuff right here with FM84. They've got really good, it's called synthwave music, really good for concentration and working and writing and all sorts of stuff. I mean, it's just, you cannot beat some of this stuff as well. I love it. And of course, you've got to go with the ones that you can find pretty much anywhere. There's a local place here called McKay's here in Nashville. And you can find old soundtracks like the Top Gun soundtrack. That is a banger. And it's just amazing to find. So you can get some of this stuff on. Oh, and look at this. I love this. Stuff like this. Sound Shop Guarantee. I didn't even really realize this was in here. Same tape, prorated amount. 6/16/1990, tape G, tape no. I love that. So it's got this little like certification in here from a sound shop in, I don't know where Sound Shop was, but Top Gun soundtrack. I mean, come on. You can't beat it, okay? Now, how are you going to play those tapes? Well, there's a bunch of different cassette decks that you can get for your home that will probably require some work. They'll probably require some new belts be put in. But this is actually the original tape player that I had, that I bought with my own money with my summer job when I was 14 years old. This is a Panasonic Shockwave. It's the stereo radio cassette player. It doesn't record. RQ SW20. This bad boy is awesome. It is completely over-engineered, but it is the coolest thing, and I could not resist. That thing was like $100 back in the day. But it actually comes with a FM radio on the inside of it. You've got everything about this is waterproof, so you've got a rubber gasket kind of going around the edge right here, but you've got a place where you can put your headphones, of course, and that's waterproof. But then you've got this, the coolest thing I've ever seen. You've got this locking thing that you can lock and unlock the tape deck to put it in there. So if I wanted to put in a tape, say I want to rock out to some danger zone here, because that's what you do in 1990. You put the tape in, you close it up, you lock it up. I mean, just listen to this. Just listen to some tape player ASMR here for a second. I mean, how cool is that? So you've got this in here. You've got extra bass. These came with these really crazy Shockwave headphones that I don't have, but they'll work regardless with any headphones that you have. All the buttons here are like these silicone buttons. They're waterproof. This one still plays. You can actually open it up, put the tape in like that, and then watch it play. AM FM radio that you can turn on. I think these batteries are dead. That's why it was doing that. But still, just to have something like this and to put it on your belt with a belt clip here that was detachable. I mean, come on. You just cannot get enough of this stuff. This has just been amazing to look at. And of course, you could record your own stuff on your own blank tapes. It just didn't get any better. I'm sorry. Today's music is it just didn't get any better. Comment below, whatever. Tell me I'm wrong. And you will. Thank you to Marcus O'Brien for the inspiration for this video, but most importantly, thank you to Crispy Donut Community for sending out the Hectare from CJRB, and I will have another dedicated shorter video on just this knife. I just wanted to feature it in my 90s carry because it looks very 1990s with its donut pink and blue aesthetic. So visit them at crispydonutcommunity.com. They would love to talk to you. They would love to get some of your business, get some of their patches, get some of their stuff, get some of their scales for some of their knives, get some of their knives. They will be, I believe, at Blade Show. I'm looking forward to meeting them, as well as Sam of EDC NC. He works with them now. And so if you want to have any questions, you can ask him as well. Thank you so much for tuning in. Of course, if you have not liked and subscribed, that always helps out the channel. We've got a ton of things happening this month with Blade Show, and I apologize for the lack of videos. that are coming out right now, but it's the busiest time of the year for me in my day job. And so we will recover that, and we will have more Blade Show content out for you. Thank you so much. God bless you. I'm going to leave you with a quote from Hebrews 12:1-2, one of my favorite scriptures of all time. Therefore, we also, since we are surrounded by such a great cloud of witnesses, let us lay aside every weight and the sin which so easily ensnares us, and look unto Jesus, the author and finisher of our faith, who for the joy that was set before him endured the cross, despising the shame, and has sat down at the right hand of the throne of God. Thank you so much. God bless you. Have a great week.